Now, moving on to a story we have been following here for weeks, like a dog on a bone, thanks to Sun Media's persistence and you, the Sun faithful, for calling in tips. Hot on the heels of the capture of 7 suspected war criminals, Canada's Public Safety Office announcing Monday they're looking to you even more now by releasing the identities of hundreds of other illegal immigrants hiding out in this country, and they are the worst of the lot. For more on this, I'm very pleased to be joined right now by Public Safety Minister, Mr. Vic Toews. Mr. Toews, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Your office saying yesterday, of course, that after the success of your war criminals roundup, you're going to release the identities now of hundreds of other illegal immigrants. Tell us about some of these, what some of these immigrants or illegal immigrants have been alleged to have done.
Well, in fact, as you know, this is on the heels of the issue that Sun Media first raised with us in respect of the individuals who were suspected or implicated in war crimes or crimes against humanity. I'd asked CBSA, why couldn't we expand this this initiative in respect of those who, in fact, have been convicted of criminal offences either overseas and then are inadmissible in Canada because of criminality in terms of a conviction, or indeed those who in fact have been convicted here in Canada and who are not Canadian citizens. Last year there was a Sun Media reporter in Winnipeg who did this with a particular individual by the name of Jama. And he had a lengthy criminal record in Canada, and it was very difficult to get him removed. Eventually, we did get that individual removed. But the media that we were able to generate as a result of the cooperation of the Winnipeg Sun and the initiative of the reporter in that case got me to thinking that perhaps we should be doing this on a larger scale. We saw how the criminality or how those implicated in war crimes were found, and a good number of the 30 we released publicly. And I said, look, we need to have a program to do that with those convicted of criminality. And so the criminal acts could be quite varied. In the case of Jama, it was a very significant, involved a very vicious home invasion, as well as many other crimes. So a lot of this depends on the particular individual and the crimes and length of time they've been in Canada.
Well, as I'm led to believe, actually, one such offender that could have been counted in this, he's not in this list, but was a cop killer, a notorious cop killer in Toronto, Clinton Gale. He was an illegal immigrant from Jamaica who killed Toronto Constable Todd Bayless back in the summer of 1994. So, I mean, these are the kinds of the case that you mentioned, as well as Clinton Gale. These are the types of people we're talking about here. So nobody should be shedding any tears for these types of people.
No, and these, even the left-wing apologists for war criminals, which I was really surprised at over the last couple of weeks, shouldn't have any concern about individuals who have actually been convicted of criminal offences here by our courts or by the judicial process in another country. So there should be no outpouring of sympathy for individuals who pose, in fact, a grave danger to Canadian residents.
Mr. Toews, you say left-wing apologist, so let's talk about the CBC for a moment. Your thoughts on the fact that Sun Media started this push, but certainly other media outlets have certainly jumped on board. But here we have the publicly funded CBC, who even at this point, at last check, they're identifying those who have been apprehended, but they certainly have not stepped up and been as responsible as other privately funded media outlets in helping your office and the CBSA catch these people.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunately a knee-jerk reaction by many individuals who somehow think that privacy rights trump the public interest in capturing people who are not admissible in Canada. And I think, unfortunately, the CBC had it wrong. It's not an issue here of whether an individual has been convicted of a crime. The issue is admissibility. And so CBS makes the determination, and then an independent tribunal makes the determination, and it can be appealed to the federal court for a consideration of that determination. And so that civil determination, in fact, is a legal process. These individuals are subject to that process and then for some reason have decided not to cooperate and have skipped out. That's why the warrants are issued. Warrants are public documents, and those subject to those public warrants should be identified. I think that's simply the nature of our judicial system. To suggest somehow that certain individuals should be kept hidden from public scrutiny because they haven't been convicted of offense is wrong. Many times individuals who've been charged with offenses, released on bail, and then don't appear. In fact, I believe there's good reason to publicize those individuals as well. So unfortunately, CBC has it wrong. I think their legal counsel really need to reconsider why they've taken a narrow focus on this when in fact there is nothing in law that would prohibit them from cooperating with the public generally in ridding Canadians of individuals who could be danger or just in fact impact on the integrity of our immigration and refugee system.
Mr. Toews, I know you have to get going. I'll ask you one final question. Crime Stoppers will now be involved. They stepped up and said, hey, we'd like to be involved, and they're going to be involved now in this further initiative?
Well, I haven't finalized the details. The staff has been putting together the initiative. I've been looking at it. I had a chance to review it yesterday. No final determinations have been made, but certainly it seems at first blush that this would be a very welcome type of partner to have, like Crime Stoppers, who have so much experience in assisting authorities in discovering individuals who are on the run, subject to warrants or otherwise wanted by the law.
All right. Mr. Toews, I do thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much. All the best to you.